Alright, as you finish your planning, you should end up with a day tab down here for each one of your days of your trip. Remember, you might have a different number of days than I do, and that's okay. You're planning out a trip that's somewhere between 1 week to 2 weeks. I do have a day for each of my tabs. I found pictures for each. I found my mileage. I found where I'm staying, what I'm eating, and things to do for each day. Once you've gotten to this point, then you are ready to start adding up your totals. So if you actually go to your Google Classroom today, you'll have something, it'll look very similar to this, and I have this road trip totals spreadsheet in here. When you click on that, it will open up a new spreadsheet which will just help you add up your totals. It'll look like this. I do have my example right down here as well, so if you want to look over at my example, you can see how I worked out my totals. So for miles driven under day 1, I just went to day 1 and I saw how far I was traveling. That was 491 miles. Day 2 was 205. I was just staying in Badlands National Park, so we didn't travel at all there. And then I have each of my day totals, as you can see here. So adding those up is simple. I just had to use an adding function to add them up, and you can add on a calculator or Google search a calculator to add up all of your miles driven. Now I need to find out the cost of gasoline. So it's just a little bit more math. I need to do my total miles, so that's what I just figured out. Then I'm going to multiply that times the average cost of gasoline, and right now it's around $3.40 per gallon. And then I'm going to divide that number by the MPG that I had for my vehicle. So I'm driving a minivan that gets 36 miles per gallon, so I did 2,127 times the cost of gas, $3.40, and then divided by 36. And so I'm going to spend about $200.89 on gas. Hotels and campground, again, this is more easy. You're just adding up. So this is the cost of hotels. I was staying in a campground there. I'm all the way back to home. That's why that's 0. But this is the cost of all of my hotels and campgrounds. Then for planned meals, I'm just multiplying that one meal times the number of travelers that I found here. So it was 13. Yeah, so I did $13 plus 5 plus 5 plus 25 plus 35 all the way through. So I got $126, and I'm traveling with my family of 4. So I'm averaging or guessing that to be around $504. Just 126 times the 4 people. If you're traveling by yourself, then that would be just the cost of each meal. And then also we're going to add up all the costs of the things that you see and do. So I had like a trail entrance fee there. This is for a museum. But you're going to go through each of your days and find out what you're spending on things to do and see. Once you've got all of those totals, you can add it up here and come up with a grand total. I will point out that we are just planning one of those meals, and so you would have to think about eating the other 2 meals, but we're not worried about that cost at this time. But if you were planning on a trip, you would know that it would be a bit more than that 504. These are just the planned meals that we had found with specific restaurants. In order to get this is an important thing. You're going to need to go back over to this blank version here and go to this little arrow, and we're going to go to copy to. Now we're going to go to copy to existing spreadsheets because we're going to add this right into your planning spreadsheet that you already have. So you click on existing spreadsheet, and now you're going to have to choose where it actually is. This is looking at your Google Drive, so I'm looking for my example road trip. Yours will be the planning sheet that you've been working on already. Once you find it, go ahead and click on it, click Insert. It says OK. So now when I go back over to my example planner, I do now have copy of totals right over here, and I could do that adding up. I can double click in there to get rid of the word copy of if you like that, and you can leave it as just totals. Hopefully that helps you add up all of the costs of your road trip.